Hey everybody, it's Cooper here and welcome back to another collecting tip video. And today we're going to talk about getting to know your local video game managers or workers and getting promotional items from video game stores and retail stores. So this is kind of two tips that I decided to combine into one because I think they're very similar. I had these planned to be two separate videos, but like I said, they're kind of the same, so I combined them into one video here. So it's going to be kind of a two-part thing, but they really tie into each other. So I have a couple stories to talk about to give some information about how, I came up with these tips, which it's not like I invented these, obviously, but I'm relaying the information to you guys to help anyone out there who doesn't know about this kind of stuff. So I have a lot of promotional items in my collection, and I had way more in my collection before. And I didn't have to pay for all these things. And there are ways that you can get these items for free. And there's a few things that you need to keep in mind and possibly do in order for this to happen. So I wanted to talk about those today and maybe help some collectors out there get some promotional stuff. So whenever you go to Toys R Us or Walmart, Target, Fred Meyer, wherever, a retail store like that, when you go to the video game section or the toy section or wherever, a lot of times they will have promotional items. They'll have little standees, or they'll have little shelf tags, or they'll have posters, or they'll have, just little display items to promote video game stuff. Whether it is for Nintendo, or it's PlayStation or Xbox, or maybe it's for Skylanders or Amiibos or whatever, they usually have something other than just the games on the shelf to promote buying video game stuff. And some stores have specific policies in place where they cannot give this stuff out. And Target, I know, is one of them, but I kind of feel like it's up to manager discretion to a certain extent. So the number one thing you can do is ask. If a game hasn't come out yet and there's a little standee for it on the counter, they're most likely not going to give it to you. But if you see that same standee on the counter a month after the game has been out, they might give it to you. Eventually, they're going to get rid of it one way or another. Whether they throw it away, whether one of the employees takes it home, they have to destroy it and recycle, or they give it to a customer/fan, it's getting out of there some way. So if there's anything you can do to take that home, you might as well try it. And the first thing you can always do is just ask. And I've had the most luck with this at Fred Meyer. Second is Toys R Us. Maybe one or two things from Walmart, but I've never gotten anything from Target, unfortunately. So I always just ask. And even if the game just came out, you can still ask. The worst they can say is no. So I want to talk about a couple things. And these are all going to be pretty old stories. I don't know if I've really told them much, but these are things that happened a while ago. So I know that Fred Meyer is not around the entire country. Obviously, it's not in other countries and stuff, but in the Northwest, there is a chain of stores called Fred Meyer, which I've been told is kind of like a Fry's in some other country or some other states, but it's basically like a Target. It's pretty similar to Target or Walmart, and they have their electronics section. And so I was at a Fred Meyer in Vancouver, Washington a few years ago, and this is right after, I think it was Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii had come out, and on one of the shelves that supports where like the controllers and strategy guides and accessories are, they had, on the bottom of the shelf, they had these Kirby's Epic Yarn stickers, and they're like kind of like vinyl type material. They're very sturdy, and it's kind of hard to remember because I don't have them anymore, but they might have even been like a bubbly kind of material, like with some decent thickness to them. But they had like a full set of them just stuck randomly onto this shelf. And I saw them and I thought they were really cool. So I went and got the electronics employee that was in the area, and I just brought him over and I said, hey, I collect Nintendo stuff, and I saw that you guys have these stickers here. I was wondering if there's any way I could have them. And he said yes. So I got them for free. All I had to do was peel them up, and I got to walk out of the store. I didn't have to buy anything. I didn't have to do anything else. He didn't have to get a manager. Maybe he was the manager, I don't know. But I got those for free. And that's not the only time. I don't know if I have it out here, but I have a Yokai Watch countertop standee that's about a foot tall. I got that from GameStop just by asking. And whenever I go to GameStop, I always ask, because GameStop is the #1 place where you're going to get this kind of stuff for free. And if you have a manager at your GameStop who doesn't give stuff out, maybe try a different GameStop, because they're all different. I know some managers are like that, and they like to save things for midnight releases where they'll give stuff away and stuff like that. But GameStop, out of all the stores, has the most promotional items, and they rotate them out fairly quickly, so you have your best chance of getting something from a GameStop over places like Target, Walmart, Toys R Us. So this kind of ties into my next tip, which is get to know your local GameStop manager or your local GameStop employees. And not only is this going to help you get this promotional type stuff, but it's going to help you in other ways too if you're actively going to GameStop for your collection. So a while ago, they released a game called Hometown Story on the 3DS. And as I don't know if it was a pre-order bonus or if it was just something they gave out when people purchased the game, but they had these little plushes. And there were like 4 or 5 different ones. There was like, I know for sure there was a dragon. There might have been like a dog or a cow or something, but there was different ones. It's basically like a Harvest Moon game. And they had these different little plushes that they would give out to someone when they bought the game. And of course it was like, they were limited. Each GameStop only had a certain amount of each one, but, until they ran out, they were giving these out for free when you bought the game. In my case, I did not buy the game, but I knew the local GameStop manager, and I knew her very well because I went in there all the time and bought games. I always chatted, and I became friendly with them. And so whenever a game came out that had some sort of pre-order bonus or some type of extra item like this, I didn't have to buy the game because I knew the manager. I would just walk in and they would just give them to me for free, which is awesome. And they're free anyway, but you have to buy the game to get them in most cases. So, you're spending $40 on the game and you're getting the plush for free. But if obviously managers are all different, people are all different, so it really depends. But in my case, I knew the manager so well, I didn't have to buy the game, and she would just give me these items for free. And she would even save items for me. They would have like a Yoshi's New Island sticker on the front door, and I would just say, hey, I'm interested in that. Whenever you get rid of it, just save it for me. And she would do stuff like that. I could go in once a week and just be like, hey, do you have anything new? And she'd come out of the back with a little box with a bunch of posters and, big display boxes and stuff. And she would just give that stuff to me all the time. And so the relationship that I built up with, not only her being the manager, but the employees as well, when she wasn't working, even the other employees would give me stuff because they already knew that their manager was cool with it. So I would get a lot of shelf hanger things. I would get a lot of like little display boxes, and I have like a little Wii Sports Club cube that I got from GameStop, and just tons of stuff like that. So yeah, the 2 tips are just ask. That's the worst they can say is no. And on the off chance that they say yes, you just got a free promotional item for your collection, which is awesome. And befriend your local GameStop staff, especially the manager, because the manager has the most power over giving stuff like this out. And if one GameStop employee tells you something, do not always believe it, because I've had GameStop employees tell me that they cannot give anything out because the Nintendo rep will come back and take it all. And that is not true. I'm sure that there are some GameStops out there where their local Nintendo rep is a collector as well, and maybe they do come and take that stuff back because they want it for themselves, but they can give that stuff away. In most cases, a lot of that stuff ends up in the dumpster. And that's why you see a lot of GameStop dumpster diving videos. I've gone GameStop dumpster diving and I found tons of stuff, like unbelievable items for free that are in the dumpster. And, you know, this is stuff that you don't have to wait until it gets to the dumpster for it to become yours. Just go in the store and ask. And, you know, if you're a jerk about it, they're probably not going to want to give you anything. But if you just explain to them, you know, if you're nice to them and you just say, hey, you know, I collect Nintendo stuff, I'm a video game collector, and I was looking at that Majora's Mask little standee that you've got over there. I was just wondering if there was any chance that you guys would be getting rid of that, or if there's any way that I could have that. You know, sometimes they'll just flat out say yes and you can take it. Sometimes they'll say, well, I gotta talk to the manager, blah, blah, blah. Or sometimes they'll say, well, you know, the game just came out, so we're still kind of using that. And sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes you have to just keep checking the dumpster. Maybe it'll show up there. And, you know, sometimes you just won't be able to get it. And, you know, it's not 100% foolproof. You know, not everyone's going to be able to walk into the first GameStop they see and get a bunch of promotional items, but it can happen, and it does happen. And I think it's a cool way to spice up the look of your collection. You know, obviously it's about the games and the systems and all that, but if you are a serious collector, you know, you're probably already going after figures, and you're probably already going after toys and plushes and all that kind of stuff. So why not try to get a couple promotional items as well? Because it makes your collection look, I guess, more professional, you could say. And I know that there's no such thing as a professional video game collector, but if you go to like a video game museum, I know there's not that many out there, but there are a couple, and if you go to a place like that, they don't just have a bunch of video games on the wall. You know, they've got posters, they've got display items and standees and statues and figures and all this kind of stuff, and it just makes it more fun to look at, and it's always fun to get to acquire that kind of stuff as well. So leave a comment down below if you guys have ever done this. What is the coolest promotional piece you've been able to get from a GameStop or from another store? And just let me know. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. And if you guys have any suggestions for other gaming tips you'd like to see a video on, feel free to leave that down below as well, and I'll take a look at those. I respond to as many comments as I can. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.